This is Lizzie from Let Zoe Spoil You.
And Sagira from Sagira Salutes You. And together, we are Newbie versus Weeaboo. Sagira, Newbie.
Lizzie, a Weeaboo.
It's Newbie versus Weeaboo.
Hello.
Hellos.
How are you today?
I'm all right. It's another day.
After our wiggy computer.
Yeah, we definitely
stuff.
had angel attacks. Don't know what was going on there. The fact that
For
both
sure.
our computers simultaneously decided to crash.
It's like, you're not allowed to do this recording. You know too much now.
I know. I'm like, oh, shit. Sele's after us.
But yes, we are. I found this quite a confusing episode, to be honest. There was a lot of religious stuff being spouted, and I was like, I don't know enough about this to fully understand what you're talking about, but I'm kind of keeping up.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you know more than I do, so you will be talking
In a way.
lot. You will hear a lot of Lizzie's voice in this one, because it'll be me going, blah, 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 explain.
Yes, but mine's all based on interpretation, so, it's my interpretation of it.
It's better than my interpretation, which is, and then they had a battle, and then this happened, and then they went, bah! And that's not really good description or explanation. So I'm sure whatever you've got is far more following words. So before we start, we are talking about Neon Genesis Evangelion. And before we start, I want to talk about something that I found in a past podcast that confused me. There's the episode where they had the video of the flashback to the second impact, and the scientists are talking and they're going through the experiment and bad things happen. Yeah. And they were saying that it was Adam at the second impact because it was something to do with the DNA being inserted and the physical fusion, all this. But then Ritsuko says that that real God caused the second impact because he was punishing the human race. So what happened?
Okay, so it depends how theoretical or how you interpret what they mean by God. If you think of God as actually a being stomping around the place and turned up, I don't 100% believe that. I believe that them messing around with the cells still caused the impact, but as Ritsuko's saying, it's because God was like, you shouldn't be doing that, so made it go wrong. Not that I don't feel like God turned up and went smack. I just think it's like it's in God's plan for it to have gone wrong. Now, the interesting thing here with religion and Eva and Japan is obviously Japan is not a Christian country. It's not a Catholic country. Its two major beliefs are Shintoism and Buddhism. There are Christians there, of course. So it believes that there isn't God like you get in the Bible. Their belief systems are very much more on the spiritual side of things rather than the one creator of all. They also believe that gods exist, like lots of gods exist, such as each family has their own god. And there's also little shrines about that house little gods. And the more people that worship these little gods, the more strength and power they have. But when people start forgetting that these little shrines exist, when they move away from their family and start forgetting about them, these gods move power and eventually disappear. So essentially the Japanese people, each family creates their own god. But as life goes on and they forget about this, it loses power. So if you put in that kind of Shinto belief into something like Eva, God is two things. God is created by man, but as long as you worship God, God will be around to protect you, to look after your family, to give you good fortune, things like that. So gods don't essentially create mankind. Japan was created from my mythology and my Shinto stuff is not great because I'm a contemporary culturalist, and I'm all about what does this mean about society via politics and stuff. But Amaterasu is the sun goddess, so they came from the sun goddess and priestesses and stuff creating humanity. I don't actually know what the belief is of creationism in Japan. I did, and I probably should have caught up on it. But Ava doesn't.
If anybody does know, give us a comment.
Yeah, but Ava doesn't follow the Buddhist doctrines. It's following the Dead Sea Scroll, and the events that are happening are as they are laid out in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which obviously the Dead Sea Scrolls are not part of the Bible. So the Dead Sea Scrolls were something else that were found and can be interpreted as religious text or factual text in this. I always take it that when they talk about God, they're kind of merging the two belief systems, as in God is something that is created by humanity and gives them strength and protection until they stop believing it. But there's also the idea that, like, the human race came from something, and that the higher power that is the God that appears in the Dead Sea Scrolls could have been a being that, if they found, they would have captured and used for themselves.
Okay.
It's hard to put it into kind of like a context.
It's all very confusing, and because it is a lot of different religions being melded into this fantasy religion sort of thing, because they don't mention Christianity or
No.
anything by name, but you're getting the aspects from those different religions.
Yeah. And the problem is the Dead Sea Scrolls is made up of not just biblical, it's also made up, and it's also because it's written in things like Hebrew and Judaism and Aramaic and stuff. It's got Judeo-Christianic things, and it's also got Middle Eastern religious like doctrine in it, and mythology, which is very similar to Greek mythology in the fact that the Titans felt like the Titans were there first, smooshing everything up and eating people, which is Greek mythology. But then the gods fought off the Titans and started like going, haha, we've saved people, which obviously the Dead Sea Scrolls says about, like, you know, angels and giants falling to earth and causing problems, and God stepping up to kind of be like, we're not going to hurt the humans.
Very confusing. And from that leads us on to episode 24 of Neon Genesis Evangelion, The Last Cometh. Mm-hmm. But we're not on the last episode, so what does it mean? We'll find out.
Well, yeah, yes, exactly.
So we open with a young Asuka who is running to her mother, and she's all excited. She's going to tell her that she's been chosen to be a pilot, and it's great because all she wants to do is tell her mum, and everyone will love her, and she doesn't need daddy anymore because she won't be lonely anymore, and it's great. Mummy. And then as she's doing this, there's doors opening, so I'm guessing that's calling back to the doors of her mind being opened. And also, whenever we
and the doors to her heart.
And doors to her heart, of course. And whenever we have a flashback of Asuka, it's always in this grayscale, which they do for flashbacks, but like Asuka herself is always black and white and grey, rather than, because everything around her was still colour.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a nice choice. It's very, it's good contrast. But then the last door opens, and trigger warning in 3, 2, 1, her mother is hanging from the ceiling. Oh
yeah.
Oh my god, like that was a kind of a moment, because you weren't expecting that, because she was so happy and it was a lovely start to an episode. It's like, yay, finally something happy. No, in true Evangelion fashion, they shatter that, and their mum committed suicide, and that poor Asuka. And then from that, the door slams shut with the sound effect of a slap, and the slap was for Shinji, because he's talking to Asuka about Kaji and telling her that he's never coming back. He's gone. He's telling her that he doesn't say anything about him being dead. I'm assuming that Shinji kind of knows because of Misato.
Because of Misato, and obviously the past codes and seeing what he's seen now, he's kind of like, he knows more.
Do we think he's told Asuka that he has been killed, or is he just saying he is not coming back?
I think he's telling her that he's finally found out that Kaji's dead, and now he's trying to tell Asuka.
Yeah, because that's she's quite a volatile person anyway, but to slap Shinji just for saying that Kaji's not coming back, I mean, with everything that she's experiencing at the moment and remembering, being told that the person that you love the most is gone as well, like, yes, that will give you a visceral reaction, but how she feels after this in the next scene kind of eludes that. She knows that he's gone. In the next scene, Asuka is lying naked in an empty tin bath, and she's looking up in a dilapidated building. Why? Why in a dilapidated building?
She's in the ruins of the city.
So she is literally run away, and she's just found somewhere to hang out.
Because you say it takes them 7 or 8 days to find her.
It takes a week to find her. Yeah.
So she's just literally climbed into a bath naked, and she's really gaunt, so you can tell she's not been eating, and she's just like, I'm just gonna lie here and die.
Oh, that was another thing, you saying that she looks gaunt. After in that scene where she's being told about Kaji, when she says, like, you're lying, she looks grown up. It's the most grown up she has looked in a long time. I don't know if it's because her hair's different or what, but she just looks like she's matured and aged in this time for what she's experiencing and going through. It's not great. It's not nice at all. She's still 14 at the end of the day, and she looks like she's lived a lifetime. What she's talking about in the bathtub is she's thinking how she's useless, that she has 0% sync rate with Unit 2. She is useless as a pilot now. She has no one. She's lost Kaji. She's got no mum, no dad. Shinji and Misato aren't there for her. She's got no friends, nothing. So she starts to contemplate maybe she shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Which is awful. While she's thinking this, we see a shadow come in and someone asks for her name. And then that cuts to Nerve HQ. And we find out that it's security that have picked her up.
Yeah.
So Misato and Makoto are talking about this, about how security have come along, picked up Asuka. And as you say, it's been a week that she's been missing. They then start talking about Asuka's replacement coming, the 5th. Ooh, new character. Misato is feeling like everything's all too conveniently happening. Like, oh, well, Asuka's gone a downward spiral. And then suddenly this person comes in and they found it very quickly and it's been sent by Seeley. So is this part of Seeley's?
Yeah.
Is this part of Seeley's plan, or we don't know. So Misato's already onto them. She's very aware all the time at the moment.
Yeah.
Now she's had Kaji's codes and everything. She's like,
I'm not trusting anybody, and everything that feels wrong is probably wrong.
Exactly. Shinji is on his bed and he's thinking back to the tank of Ray's and the clones, and he concludes that Ray and his mother are the same person. Because he says,
well,
Ray
no,
and
not
my
the
mum.
same person. He gets the same feeling from them. Somehow they are related to each other in a way, which is why he gets that feeling of a mother from Ray.
And he obviously knows that this is to do with his father.
Yeah,
obviously.
Gendo is Gendo.
Back at Nerve, Ritsuko is in isolation or prison or somewhere put away where she's out of the way because she's destroyed the many rays.
Yeah, she's in solitary confinement.
Yeah. And Gendo goes to visit her. She tells him about her dead cat. She's saying, like, I've lost my cat and I stopped paying attention to it. I was away from it for a long time. And it's kind of the relationship that all the children have had with their parents, where they've been ignored because all this Ava and Nerve stuff has taken priority over everything else. So where she doesn't have kids and she has cats instead, the same thing has happened. All these things are suffering because of Nerve and
adult decisions, basically.
Yes. Gendo doesn't give two F's about the cat. He's like, why did you do that to Ray? Like, what? Well, he doesn't say Ray, does he? He says, so Gendo asks her, why did you destroy the dummy system? And she said, I didn't. I destroyed Ray. And he doesn't care what wording it is. He just wants to know why she did it. And she starts to basically open her heart up and say, you betrayed me. You used me just like you've used people before. And I, basically he broke her heart is what he did.
It's quite heartbreaking, the line
it
in
really
there.
Is. To see her cry as well, after all this putting up walls and trying to cut her emotions off from everything, to finally see her cry and let it all go.
Yes. Also knowing that they were having a sexual relationship and she was like, you were just using my body. And it's just like, oh my goodness, Gendo, you are such a dick.
He is. He really is. Worst father ever. Again, he doesn't care what she has to say because he says nothing and just leaves her crying. Yeah. Bless her. We then cut to Shinji, who stood in front of Unit 2. He says he doesn't know where Asuka is and he's contemplating if he should tell her about Ray. Because Asuka, she should know, but at the same time, will they just break her more?
Yeah, I don't think it's the right person to tell.
No.
But again, I think Asuka's pretty broken and doesn't need to know about the Ray, but Shinji doesn't really know who else to talk to about this.
Well, that's it. I think at the end of the day, even though Asuka treats Shinji badly, they are still good friends.
They're still connected, yeah.
Yeah, they confide in each other. Like, you've seen her do it a few times where she forgets herself and starts confiding in him. So clearly they are people they can easily talk to. And normally, whereas he'd just go home and talk to her about stuff, she's not there anymore and she's in no fit state to know all this stuff. So he's got no one to talk to. He goes for a walk down by the water, which is lovely water.
On the sunken part of the city that's been destroyed in previous eps.
Well, we say previous eps, but then it says that Toji and Ida's families have been moved because their homes were destroyed. So it must be newer parts of the city as well if they're moving people out of there.
So it's stuff that's been destroyed recently. but also it's just getting dangerous, so people's families have been moved out of it.
Yeah, because he says that those two have moved and he can't talk to Ray because he's too scared to talk to Ray. Because how is he talking to his mother? Is he talking to a friend? Who is he talking to?
Yeah,
so,
is it the Ray that he'd started bonding with, or who's this new Ray? He just it's a bit unsure.
So he's confused and he can't find Asuka at this point, so he can't talk to Asuka and he can't talk to Misoto because she's got her own stuff going on. So he feels alone right now. So all he needs is a friend. Enter new person.
Hey! Nagisa Kaoru. I love Kaoru.
See, now the way that it's spelled is nothing like the way it's said. So the whole time I'm listening out for people saying his name, I'm like Kaoru, because I don't want to have another Misato pandemic of saying Masoto for ages and ages and then go, oh no, it's Masato, not Masoto.
Yeah.
So Kaoru.
Nagisa Kaoru.
Shinji hears someone humming and he looks over and he sees Kaoru. He knows who Shinji is. He's like, it's Shinji Ikari. And Shinji's like, how do you know my name? He's like, why don't you know how important you are? Because Shinji is important. If you got someone who's defending the world, basically, you're going to know about them.
Who you are. Like, yeah.
So he's trying to build him up, being like, you're important. Why do you not get this? And he tells him who he is and that he's the fifth child.
Yeah.
We then cut to Misoto, who is in a car escalator. What is that thing?
God,
it's like the car is on its side and moving forward. So it looks like it's on some sort of conveyor belt.
Yeah, somehow the cars have been going in and out. I don't know. And is it
in nerve? Is it?
Yeah, it goes from the geofront to go back to the surface.
Right. So why would you put your car all the way down?
Because you can also drive around the geofront.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It's an underground city.
Oh, okay.
It's taking you this long to work it out. But yeah.
I don't know. So much happening and so many things changing and molding.
I suppose, working out that the geofront might have some roads in it.
Okay, cool. They're on a car escalator anyway. And it's Misato and Makoto. There's so many names in this flipping thing. Makoto, yes. And then they've got quite a nice little relationship in this episode. They're talking about the fifth child and that he has been sent by the council directly. Yes. So again, there must be something dodgy. And that, like Ray, he has no background info. So it's like, what are we to deduce from this? And also that his date of birth is the day of the second impact.
Day after the second impact.
It says, oh, right, when I read the subtitles, it said the day of the second impact.
Was it? I thought it said the day after the second impact.
It was around the second impact. It was a very, very suspicious time that he was born.
Yes. The second impact happened and then there was Kaoru.
So Makoto tells Misato that he's been doing a bit of sleuthing, a bit of hacking into the intelligence files, and he found Ritsuko. So obviously Misato has been looking for her because she got told this truth bomb and then she's gone. So, it's like, where is she? They then talk about, hey, there's a sync test going on for the fifth. Yay. Cut to the sync test. And there is Ray, Shinji, and
Kaoru.
This is going to trip me up now. Ray, Shinji, and Kaoru are sat in the plugs, and they're amazed at how well the fifth is syncing with Unit 2. So already it's suspicious.
Yeah. He's a super syncer.
Yes.
He's like, woohoo.
And they've done it without replacing the core. So he's literally just jumped into Asuka's place and it's working.
Yeah.
So they're all like, wow.
That shouldn't be possible, but somehow it is. And then that wonderful line of, it's like, it should be impossible. And it's like, first you accept the facts and then you find out the reasons why.
Yeah, first we take the facts as they are, then we explain them. Yeah, I wrote it down because I was like, that's a good line.
Yeah.
Next we see Ray going up the massive escalator and at the top is Kaoru. And he says that he's built like her. And that would say that he was a clone by saying that he's built like her. So that's what he's kind of alluding to. That would make him very self-aware as a clone. Because the way that he talks about himself is not the way that Ray talks about herself.
No.
Like he's very confident.
Okay. So we know... Oh no, do we know what is the genetic makeup of Ray? Do you know what the genetic makeup of Ray is?
You asked me this, and there's so much science jargon going around. She's made up of Adam, isn't she? I'm sure that she was made from Adam. Yeah,
and there's something else in there that makes Ray who Ray is. Basically, obviously Gendo Ikari and his project created Ray. Seele created Kaoru. Because I don't ever technically feel that either of them are clones. To be clones, you've got to be like a copy of one thing. But their genetic material is more than one thing. I think there are clones of Rei, but original Rei was genetically created from two sets of DNA. So it's
But
implying...
she's not original Rei, she's the third Rei.
Well, she is the third Rei, yeah. She's now a clone of the original Rei creation. And Kaoru is also a biologically created being.
Gendo is told that the two have met now, which isn't the best thing.
Well, he's a bit unsure about what that means.
Oh, the fact that Kaoru has been sent by the council, it kind of implies he could be a spy at this point. So that's why they're being very cautious. And the fact that they've already said it's not good if the council find out that Rei lives, and then they have this guy come in and suddenly meet Rei. It's like,
Oh, shit. The Sailor spy has just met the thing we were keeping secret.
Exactly. So not good. But Gendo being Gendo, he's laid back about it and just like, let's see how this plays out. Misato is in her room trying to figure out who the fifth is. Everyone's just like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Where's he come from? Why is he here? Just why? Why this guy? So she and Pen Pen go to Shinji's room, but Shinji's not there because Shinji doesn't want to go home right now.
No.
He doesn't like it. We see Shinji sat with his music on at HQ, and Kaoru finds him, and they have a little chat about, so what goes next? Well, we have a shower and then we go home. Why aren't you going home? But home's a great thing. We love home.
Yeah.
It's basically how that conversation
Yes. But in a slightly more kind of, there's more underneath the surface of,
yes,
it's like, you know, but isn't having a place to go home to a nice thing? And it sounds like Kaoru is trying to find out more about this feeling because he might not himself have a home to go back to. So he's like, but I thought you get the feeling that he's like, wait a minute, you don't have a home. So he's kind of he's talking to Shinji as if he's trying to like find out these experiences from himself via Shinji.
Well, Shinji says, I've got to go shower. So Kaoru is like, hey, I'll come with you. Then we have fun shower time. Yay. They're not really showering, they're just sat in a bath. And Kaoru talks to Shinji about intimacy and how we avoid people to not hurt feelings and to make sure that, I don't know, that we don't insult them or anything, but by doing that we become lonely, but ultimately we're all alone anyway. So he's very philosophical for a so-called whatever Rei is.
He's got a lot more like cognitive ability and understanding of the nature of humanity.
Exactly. So it's like, you are not like Rei. You are definitely something more than Rei is.
And also, he's come in and he gets Shinji straight off the bat. He understands Shinji and is able to bond and connect with him. And which Shinji does the same, having this person that comes in and can say it like it is, but also has this weird innocence and curiosity about them.
But then he totally confuses Shinji because while talking about all this stuff, knowing that Shinji's not comfortable with intimacy and knowing people and stuff, he puts his hand on Shinji's hand, and Shinji doesn't flinch or anything. And you can interpret this in so many ways, but Shinji just he gets all flushed and embarrassed, and he's just like, oh, someone's touching me. It seems sexual because they're naked in a bath, but
it's not about sexualization.
Yeah,
it's about intimacy.
Exactly.
It's about making a genuine human connection. But the point of contention, I think it is, of this scene is they changed the line. And this is why a lot of fans, because the minute it came up in the subtitles, I'm like, that's not what Kaoru says.
What did he say?
It's a bit when he's talking about like this intimacy, and he's talking about how Shinji is someone worth looking after and is worth praising, and he's saying how he thinks he was put on this earth to have met him.
I'm worthy of your grace.
Yes.
He says, yeah.
Yeah. And then he says, Shinji, I think I love you. So that line when he goes, I like you, it's always played as I love you.
So wait, it's supposed to be I love you? It's supposed to be
an I love you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they made it more ambiguous and less gay. The thing about Kaoru is it doesn't matter what biological sex he is. He feels love for Shinji. It's not about if they're gay or straight. It's not about sexuality and biological sex. It's about the feeling of love. Shinji's inability to connect and his loneliness But the fact that he's still trying and stuff, Karu sees the worth in what Shinji has been doing and feels like he does deserve intimacy and a connection with someone, and that beautiful fragility in Shinji, Karu is instantly attracted to and is like, oh my goodness, no, I love this about you and I think you're worth more than what you do. And also he wants Shinji to realise he's worth something, and the only thing he can say to make someone believe that they are worthy of affection is if they feel that they're worthy of love. And Karu's the one that gives that gift to Shinji, going, yes.
But that also explains Shinji's reaction near the end. I mean, I won't go too much into it because we're going to talk about it, but I like you and I love you. It does completely change the context of what is being said. And I love you would give more of a reason of why Shinji reacted the way that he did, rather than I like you, because I love you means so much more, especially to Shinji, who has probably never been told, I love you. Especially
when the next scene comes on and he says that, and it's like just a subtle little thing.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. This was the first time I really noticed hardcore the changing of dialogue really affects the meaning of this episode and all the meaning of Karu, especially for a lot of us in the queer community. When this came out, Karu became such an icon of like queer representation to us and their relationship as queer representation. Not because it's automatically like, you know, there's the shippers and you can have like, and there was countless yaoi doshinshis and everything over it, but also it was about love. It wasn't about biological sex or gender. It was about the idea of love and being able to love someone despite what society puts on as gender norms and biological sex and sexuality. It was just pure, beautiful, innocent moment of love between two characters. So this redub is like, hey, you're taking one of our gay icons from us.
It's also really annoying then, because it's like that one line, such a simple line, one word has been changed, it changed everything. Imagine what else has been changed that no one realizes unless you know the two versions of an anime or read the manga and the anime, because things changed that way as well. You know, so there could be a whole community of people who watch this and are missing out on so much just because some wording has been changed.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Absolutely crazy. I can now see why the fans were mad. I mean, this is the moment that made me mad, because that meant so much to me when I first heard it. And I was just like, oh, it's beautiful. This boy loves him.
But from that, we go on to part 2, another contender for the world's longest title, The Beginning and the End, or Knocking on Heaven's Door. Yep. So is that like they could decide which title they like better, so they had both?
Yeah, I think so.
The Old Man Block Council are back. I get a feeling that it's more because they can't be bothered to keep drawing all the old men, so they just have them as blocks because it's easier. I mean, it is more ominous having these blocks talking at you and you can't actually see who's talking. But at the same time, it's a bit easier to draw a block than it is.
Yes, it definitely saves budget for other scenes that need the budget.
Yes, exactly.
But at the same time, it feels ominous and weird.
They've done it in a way that adds, rather than us going, you've cheapened this whole thing by getting the easy way out. It still goes with what we're watching. So that's okay. But at the same time, it's an Old Man Block Council. They feel Gendo is taking over with his own secret plans, and they must restore everything back to their own plan. So they're now starting to do things so that Gendo is unaware, and they can be like, okay, bye Gendo, this is what we're doing. But Gendo's too clever for that, and he's got too much on his side. Like his plan is pretty much there, you know. He's on his way, whereas they're reconstructing their plan. So
they're playing catch up a little bit, and now they're trying to like force it forward.
So good luck with that. Gendo is talking to Unit 1, and he says that the spear was in their way, and now that it's gone, at last the last angel is coming, and once that is destroyed, their dreams will be fulfilled. And this was quite a disturbing scene, really, because he has an angel embedded in his hand. It looks like the Adam embryo that we saw earlier, but it's in his hand.
Yeah. Quick flash of like, there's an embryo in your hand. Gross. What are you growing in there?
I kept touching my own hand, like, I don't like it. How are you walking around with that thing on your hand and not squishing it all the time?
Well, that's why he wears his gloves.
But then we realise that he's talking to Ui because she's
Yui's in
Unit
there,
1. So that's kind of a nice scene. I kind of like it.
Yeah. I mean, he is a super mega dick.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, looks like Yui was genuine for him.
Yeah, but it also shows that he, unlike Ritsuko and her mum, he wasn't using her. He truly did love her. And that's what's nice about it. And it's just a shame that him and Shinji don't have the relationship, because other than Unit 1, technically Shinji is his connection to his wife.
And I'm pretty sure she would have wanted him to get to know his son better. She seemed like the kind of person that would have loved the son and would have loved them two to have a relationship.
Well, she did love her son, and like she said, the reason why he was there on that horrible day where she vanished was because she wanted him to see that he had a future ahead of him, and Mummy was doing something to contribute to that, but then it all went horribly wrong. So, she did love him. Ugh.
It's a very tragic series.
Yeah, it's another sad episode. It's like, oh, God, no more of this emotional turmoil. Oh. Next one that we do, can we have a slightly happier one just to balance out what we're watching? Ray is in bed contemplating about her life. Why is she here? Who is she here for? And she's contemplating the fifth as to why he is here and how he is like her. So she's got all these thoughts going on. So after the race scene, I started getting my own theories about the fifth. They're wrong. They're totally wrong now.
Yeah.
But the way I'm still mentioning it because of the way it was all playing out. I was starting to think that maybe the fifth was something to do with Asuka, because it was all playing out that way, in the way that he can sync really easily with Unit 2. He likes Shinji a lot. Yeah, it was just like this feeling that maybe they had done what they had done to Ui and Ray to Asuka, because he was alluding that he's the same as Ray. So I was wondering if they take, and also we hadn't seen Asuka for such a long time. We don't know where she is or what they've done with her. So I started to think, maybe they've put Asuka inside Karu, and then that's why he's so susceptible to Unit 2. I now know that's not right, but at this point,
it's a good idea. It could very much be that he was made out of DNA from Oscar's family, like the mum and stuff, and that's why. Yeah, but it's a good theory.
When Ray started going, who am I? Why is he here? That's when I was like, maybe this is right. I now know it's not, because we find it in the same episode, but I was like, I thought I was being really clever. Never mind. See, this is what happens when you start investigating every single thing. You're like, theory. See, I could be a theorist. Misato's flat, and she stood there with Pen having a cuddle, and she's like, Pen, I have to give you to someone so they can take care of you because stuff's going bad. And it's like, oh, Pen.
But at least you're thinking of Pen.
Exactly. So Pen's got to go to foster home. Oh, it's just like, oh, it's so sad. Everything's sad. Shinji and Karu are in bed chatting. They're either side. They're not in the same bed.
They've got a futon each.
And they start to talk about Shinji's past, and he's explaining that it's kind of like why he's so not scared of intimacy, but why he isn't intimate with people, because he lived with a teacher that he spent a lot of time by himself, and he was fine with that, because why would you not be if that's all you know?
These are all very lonely children that have been taken in for the Ava project.
It's a hard not life. He then kind of opens up a little bit about his father, but then he kind of contemplates to himself saying, why is it so easy to talk to Karu? Why am I finding it, I can just spill my guts basically, when you find that person that is just easy to confide in. And then Karu says the line that he thinks he was born just to meet Shinji, and it's like, oh. And it's just like Shinji's reactions to it. He's always blushing because he hasn't experienced someone being so kind to him. So out of the rubble, Karu is talking to himself about how everything needs something to create it. Suddenly he's not talking to himself, he's actually talking to the old man block council. And throughout this scene, he stood on a statue of an angel.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a...
Yeah, that was the moment I go, I know who Karu is. Immediately I was like, I'm calling it, Karu's an angel.
Yeah, symbolism. So it's like, oh, okay. But also this whole conversation now kind of alludes and explains a little bit about who he is and what his purpose is. So I've got my notes, but I'm going to pass it over to you because you know more about it than I do.
Yeah,
so
but you've got all the lines written down.
I don't have the exact lines. This is kind of more me putting down what I think they're talking about rather than what they are talking about.
Oh, no, because normally you have the lines going and say, this is what they say, and then I was going to interpret the lines.
So you want me to go for it as in order? Okay.
Yes. Because I'm just like, they're talking about loads of things, and I thought, don't worry, Nick will have this.
Okay, well, because this was one I had to pause continuously, and then I had the subtitles up so I could read it because what they were saying was different to what was being written. I'm like, right, between the two, I can decipher what is going on because it's all names and words and okay. So he's talking to the giant old man block council.
Yeah,
they appear in the sky before him. they describe Gendo as the man who is trying to obtain power equal of a god. So they're telling Karu who Gendo is.
Yeah.
More old men blocks appear, because like one appears and a few more appears until they're
Yeah.
all there. And they're surrounding him. And they start talking about hope. And there's quite a lot about hope, because Karu comes across as if he doesn't understand what hope is.
Yeah, so he doesn't fully understand humanity. He's been getting to know Shinji, and that's been teaching him about humanity. And he's also like, oh, there's this boy full of loneliness and is deserving of love, and that's, you know, he likes those pure, innocent emotions in him. He's not quite sure how to hold conversation with the adults, because adults, they're not sweet, innocent. It was very much a time of the genre where they're like, you know, innocence is probably more powerful than adults, because adults are so corrupted by their own wants and needs. And the council and Gendo sit at two opposite ends. So Gendo wants the power of a god to recreate something for his own purposes. The Seele Council are trying to get something to recreate mankind.
They say that the soul that was salvaged from Adam is in Karu and nowhere else. So whatever Adam was is now Karu.
Yeah.
But Adam was made from the thing that they made from the god. See how I'm analysing that? I don't quite understand
It's so hard, because some of it is there's actual physical beings, and some of it is like theoretical and metaphysical and all those kind of words. I always think there's a physical manifestation of the soul of mankind. Because obviously they start using Lilim and they start throwing in other terms of other beings. And then they change the mythology when they add, I don't know if this is the point where they add Lilith to it. And I'm like, oh God, this is a different thing. Okay, so as I took it down, mankind's belief in God created a god that was very powerful. The scientists decided that they want that power for themselves. So Gendo was going, ha, like, you can believe in something. It created a power. And if he had that power for himself, what could he create with it? So decided to start mixing it with DNA to give it like a corporeal, a physical form, rather than just like finding a metaphysical soul, powerful being kind of thing. By giving it like DNA and manipulating it, can turn it into something, because if it's created by a human, it could be something that can be controlled. All went tits up, created Adam, who went on a bit of a wacky smacky, I'm the first angel, I've destroyed everything, didn't go so well. But they managed to put the genie back in the box, or the back of the Pandora's box, as they describe it. It's like, oh no, throwing freaking Greek mythology in this too. Somehow they managed to put the genie back in the bottle, and they're like, okay, right, and they decided to experiment with it. Seele experimented with Adam DNA to create Kaoru. Gendo experimented it to create Rei. You still don't know what Gendo's end game is of what he's trying to create.
No. But also they say Adam is in Karu, and as in his soul is nowhere else. But the physical Adam is inside Akari. So that is what the thing on his hand is. It's the physical Adam.
Yes. So because souls and corporeal bodies are not the same.
However, having Karu as a soul and Gendo as the flesh, it makes them one of the same. They are the same.
They should have been the same being, but it's two beings. It's it's the Holy Trinity they're going after: the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. The body, the soul, and the spirit, or whatever it is. That's getting even more kind of religious-y. But yeah. So Carol's body was created from something, but it has the soul of Adam in it. The embryo is in Ikari's hand.
And then this is where I say they keep mentioning the Lilin, which I don't know if they explain it clearly here, because as they keep talking about it, you then start to realise that Lilin means people, humans.
People, yeah. So basically, Lilim is the way that the angels refer to this current generation of humanity, which is why you're like, well, Kairo's clearly an angel because he's calling people Lilins.
And they have mentioned Lilith, but they don't go into full detail about her. But from my understanding from Sabrina, Lilith is a demon? No.
Lilith was, I think, was it Adam's first wife? It depends on which mythology you go by, but she is known as the mother of monsters. She was the first wife that God replaced. Which is weird because you think of Adam created Eve from his own rib in his image, which is obviously what humanity and Gendo are trying to do, trying to create something out of something. It's all beginning to tie together. But Lilith was there first. Now, Lilith wasn't human. She was whatever Lilith was when they produced another race. But I swear in this one, they say that Lilith is the mother of the Lilim. But I'm like, but no, she's not. She's not the mother of humans. She was the mother of monsters. So therefore, she might be the mother of the angels that are appearing now. But it's all confusing because it depends on which mythological things. I always thought of Lilith as the mother of monsters. She was the mother of non-humans, and God prefers humans to his angel children, which is why angels are pissed off. So Lilith was God's first wife and was the one that helped birth the angels, and then, which is what I kind of always take it as, and then God was like, haha, humanity, I love them more, and angels are pissed off because it's like, we were your first kids, and Lilith is pissed off because she's all like, I was your first love, screw you, I'm going to make monsters now instead.
Like I say, she's Lady Gaga. Like I say, she's mentioned, but they don't go into great detail about her, so I was just going off of what I know from other things I've watched about Lilith. However, obviously, everything's interpreted differently.
Yeah, and Ava uses it differently.
I didn't want to assume anything. At this point, we just know Lilith is there, but we don't know anything about her. While this is going on, Misato is spying on Karu, and she's looking for binoculars, and he's very far away. However, he clocks her. He's like, hey. So she's like, how the hell can he see me? But we know now why. And she says that he keeps talking to himself, so she can't see this old man council.
No.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a bit mad, a little bit nuts talking to himself. I talk to myself, I'm not mad. Am I? Misato is talking to Makoto, who is doing some digging and found that the fifth can change his sync rates at will. So they still don't know what he is, and they're still trying to work out why it's so easy for him to do that, because people can't
automatically sync with Ava's.
People shouldn't be able to do that, nor Ray can't do that either, so...
But she does have a very good ability to sync with Ava's.
She has a good ability, but she can't do it at will.
Not as perfect,
like Karu can, yeah. Misato decides to visit Ritsuko, because she knows so much, and she's like, hey, you're my source now. And she goes to ask about the fifth. Ritsuko says, he's probably the final messenger. Cryptic, Ritsuko, cryptic.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
But she knows because she's obviously been involved with the Sele Council and knows most of the whole truth. So she's guessed what it is, but she's being cryptic about it.
Now, the next scene starts off all the drama. Karu is stood in front of Unit 2. He summons it, he floats up in the air, and he doesn't enter Unit 2, he's just in front of it, but he activates it.
Yeah.
And everyone is losing it.
Yeah.
Like, how is he doing this? What is going on? Asuka's not here, so it shouldn't be doing anything. Yep. And what is going like they check on her. She's in room 303 having a lie down. So we know Asuka's fine. But she's not fine.
But she's not fine in any way, shape, or form. But yeah.
But she's not in danger. They've got her and they're looking after her. So Asuka's okay, everyone. It's good. And there's no entry plug either. So how is this thing coming to life and animating? To which they then realise that Karu is in fact an angel. This is the big woo, he's an angel.
Yep, he is the 17th angel.
And he's been sent by Sele, and he's there to speed things up. So whatever Sele are planning, they are using Karu and the Avas to get things going.
And, I mean, we know at this point that the projects that I keep mentioning, the Human Instrumentality Project, and remember previously the council had told Gendo, like, look, your real job is not the Avas, it's the Human Instrumentality Project. So things are coming to a head, and they want to finally get this project off the ground how they imagined it playing out.
And after this, we have 2 episodes, so they've got to pull their finger out.
Yeah.
So the Old Man Block Council say that they need to fix the mistakes man has made without the use of Adam or angels, and they hope Unit 1 will carry out its task. So they need Avas to complete what they're doing.
Yeah.
Unit 2 is breaking through all the barriers. They have to prevent the angel from getting to Terminal Dogma, which is Adam. So they deploy Unit 1. It's like, we have no choice. Unit 1's got to go. And they start to wonder why the angel has chosen Unit 2. That we find out in a minute. Shinji is hella mad. He's like, how can this guy be so kind to me and make me trust him and believe in him? And he's a freaking angel. Because everything that Shinji understands about angels is that past episode, he started to think about what Asuka was saying about we destroy angels to protect ourselves and to protect humanity. Yeah. So that's his understanding of an angel. So as far as he's concerned, Karu has tricked him so that
Yeah.
he can get to Adam. So he's hella mad. Karu is waiting for him. He's saying, come on, Shinji. So he wants Shinji to come and get him. Unit 1 and 2 fight. He catches up and they start having a fight. Carol. Who's Carol?
Who knows?
Carol pops in. It's like, hey,
Hey,
guys.
I've got to sort this mess out.
Hi, everyone. Karu thinks that the Avas are abominations, but will use them if it means that Lilin will survive. So he's helping the Lilin?
Well, he's been sent by Sele, and Sele is whatever project, the human instrumentality project thing, they think it's for the best of mankind.
Okay. Karu is trying to help mankind, but Shinji is mad because he thinks that he's there for something else. Like, does Shinji still not realise that he's there for that?
Shinji still thinks he's an angel and angels are attacking because they want to destroy humanity. Karu doesn't want to destroy humanity and doesn't want Shinji to be manipulated by Gendo's plan.
But Karu explains that as he has a soul and Ava 2 doesn't, and they both exist from Adam, that they will merge and basically become one.
So basically, a lot of the angels have been trying to get back to Adam because they've come from that and they just want to return home. So, you know that whole line about, but isn't home somewhere you want to go?
Yes.
So it comes back to that. Adam is home for the angels. If they merge with Adam, they go back to the beginning. They go back to life before they were another race.
So that's why all the angels have been trying to get to Adam, because they want to return back to him.
Yes, and they want to go home, basically. You kind of get the idea that whatever happened in the Arctic spurted out like the 17 angels. They just want to go home and be one with what they were before humanity started messing around with them. The Avas are abominations because they are soulless beings created from their DNA, and they're like, they don't, but angels have souls.
So by the third impact, what they are saying is that if all the angels get back to Adam, then it will reset time, so it will destroy everything.
Yeah.
But it will put it back to how it should have been.
Yes.
Before humans came along and messed everything up.
Yeah, before this generation thought, hey, you know what, we'd play God. So it will, like, all the angels going back to Adam will create the end of the world, but it will create a world where the new race of humanity can grow up and live without playing God.
Yeah, so in a way it's good, but in a way for everyone who's existing at this point in time is bad.
Yes.
Oh dear, what a conundrum.
Yeah. Which is actually the conundrum the Karu is in.
I was going to say, the Karu actually says that. He says this is perplexing because there's two things going on here. Karu also has an AT field, which is why they can't hurt him at this point. Well, angels have AT fields, so I don't know why this is confusing to everyone. But it's made by his heart, the goodness of his heart or something to do with that. I don't know, it went by really quickly.
But yeah.
He has an AT field. Misato and Makoto have a quiet conversation between themselves while the battle is going on. They're saying that, well, Misato says, if it gets too close to the dogma, they will have to initiate a self-destruct in Unit 1 to prevent the third impact.
Yeah.
So by doing that, it could destroy everything in Nerve.
Yeah. Because
they're whispering, trying not to panic everyone, and also Misato's like, I'm sorry, sort of thing. And Makoto says a really sweet thing. He says, it's okay, I'm with you. And it's like, oh, so sweet. But yeah, they could all die. If it gets too
self-destruct and they are all going to die.
An AT field bigger than what anyone has ever seen has been created, and they don't understand where it's coming from or why it's been created.
I think there might be another angel on the premises because something else has an AT field.
They finally reach the bottom, and Unit 1 tries to stop Karu, but he's then stopped by Unit 2, and Karu goes floating off. La 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 la.
Yeah. Having a lovely floaty time.
Yeah. And with his psychic ability, he manages to open the door to Adam, as they call it, Heaven's Gate. And they're all feeling very defeated, and Misato gives the word of self-destruct. However, before they're able to do that, another AT field is made.
Yes.
Equal to the one that they have just seen. And they're like, why? Why are all these AT fields popping up all over the place? However, at this point, they think it's an angel, but whatever it is vanishes, so that it's too quick for them to decipher what it is. But the next thing we see is Ray watching what's going on. So are we to assume it's Ray? I mean, nothing's said it is Ray, but from the flick from talking about it to Ray, you would assume that the two are connected.
There is a connection.
Yes. But she's not doing anything. She's just literally watching what is happening. So Karu is now looking at Adam, and he says, Adam is... No, you are not Adam.
No.
You are Lilith.
Yes.
Bum, bum, bum. So that's your plan. Gendo has a different plan to what we thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Even though we don't know what we thought his plan was, because we have no idea.
Well, currently we're thinking that he wants to make a new human race because he was trying to get things from Adam. However, this is Lilith. And as you say, if she truly is the goddess or whatever of the mother of monsters, then maybe that's what he's trying to create.
Well,
who knows? We don't know right now. All we know is it's not Adam, it's Lilith.
Yes. And Adam is currently in Gendo's hand.
Yes.
And depending on, the mythology, because I don't think they're using Lilith as the mother of monsters in this, because I think at some point they say that Lilith was the original mother of the Lilim.
It's all very confusing. Again, we have questions answered, and then we get more questions. We think that we've worked it out, and then they throw a big spanner in the works.
Yes.
Nothing will be explained until probably the last episode, and even then we'll probably have more questions. So,
but at some point, Ray has got her own AT field, because she is part angel, because she's been made from angel DNA, and also she has a very large drive to protect Shinji.
Yes, she has a large drive to protect Shinji, but I think she's also very curious about Kudo as well, because they are the same.
Yeah.
She wants to see what he's
about.
There
is a connection to Kara as well. The two of them do have
so I think that she has a lot of investment in what's going on down in the boroughs of HQ, as opposed to what everyone else thinks is happening. Finding out that it's Lilith throws off Karu. His plan has changed as well, because it's not what he thought he was there to do. But we don't know, because at this point, Unit 2 comes flying through the wall and is immobilized. It can't move anymore, which is what Karu wanted. He wanted Shinji to be Unit 2 because he didn't want it living alongside Lilith, is what he says. But Shinji doesn't know that this is Lilith, so this is all very cryptic to everyone.
Shinji spends the rest of the scene going, I don't understand a word of what you're saying. And most of us are like, we're with you on that one, Shinji. I don't know what's going on now either.
Karu seems very clued up on everything, and he knows exactly what's going on. But unfortunately, he's not going to tell us because he now wants to die.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. He talks of how life and death are the same to him, and if humanity perishes, he would still live on, but he would rather Shinji lived on, which would mean humanity would have to live on.
Yeah, because he loves Shinji.
So he tells Shinji to destroy him, or else him and all of his kind will disappear. And it's like, oh, the sacrifice. Oh, my heart. And that just shows you that angels are looking out for humanity, even if it means their destruction.
Yeah.
And it's only that Karu has a voice that he can tell us that, because everything else has been a monstrous, horrific looking thing, and it's like, it looks different from us, kill it.
Yes, basically. It's like kill it with fire. But it's actually, the angels have wanted to go home this whole time.
Yeah.
But finally, they've worked out a way to how to communicate, because, Ritsuko's been panicking about them, communicating things, and the last one that communicated with Ray about the loneliness inside her, and now finally they've evolved enough to have a human form, and we know this because Sele kind of created Karu anyway and gave it the soul of Adam, and he's able to finally express what they've all been meaning to express, but at the same time, Karu doesn't want Shinji to die because he's learned there's this good soul in all of this that he doesn't want to kill. He'd rather Shinji kills him.
He tells Shinji that he's going to sacrifice himself so that humanity can live on. Yeah. And he looks up at Ray and he smiles at her, and it's
This is the conversation where he explains what AT fields are, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. No. When he created the one from his heart, as I was trying to express, he explains it, but I didn't fully understand
what AT fields are. Is a physical manifestation of personal space. AT fields are the boundary where you as a human and you as a Neek, as a Zoe, as a person exists. So everybody has who they are, And an AT field is a physical manifestation of who you are. Stronger the AT field, the stronger your identity as an individual is. Kaoru saying it's created from his heart is he has such like a strong connection to Shinji now, and this love he feels manifests as a very strong AT field because of this gathering this idea of self. If Ray's an angel and she's creating an AT field, her sense of self and her connection to Shinji and the bonds she's feeling is so strong that she's being able to suppress everything, and also the connection she shares with Kaoru.
And that explains why it was so big, because she earlier on in this episode she's questioning who she is and who Kaoru is, and through this battle she has learned quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because after him saying we are so alike, we were born of the same thing, and then him showing her Adam, or at this point Lilith, and showing that they think that they're going to have to kill Shinji, but then she doesn't want him to die and all this. Yeah. It shows that she now knows who she is and why she's here.
Yes. And obviously if she's something created by Gendo for his purpose, she's going to be a pretty powerful thing.
Especially when they say that the AT field that the angel has created is larger than any they've ever seen. And then Rey creates the exact same kind. We know that she's going to be one powerful dude. Shinji is holding Kaoru in his hand, in the Eva hand. And we are treated to, I think, at this point, the longest pause. And it's got the heavenly music in the background. Yeah. And there is literally nothing. And you can kind of feel everything that Shinji is feeling, because you've just witnessed this huge battle, this adrenaline of they could all die, whether it's the angel getting to Adam, because that's what they think is happening, or if it's that they have to self-destruct Shinji or whatever. You went through the adrenaline of they could all die. And then Shinji thinking he's been betrayed by Kaoru, but actually Kaoru is caring for him and he loves him. And Shinji is finally feeling this person has affection for him and wants nothing else. And he's never felt that before. Maybe his mother was the last person who felt like that with him, but he hasn't had it since. Yeah. And all that he's feeling, you are feeling. And you have this tiny, tiny hope that he will change his mind. That he will go, no, I can't do it. But you know he has to. And that's the same for him. He knows he has to, but he hopes that there's a tiny chance that he doesn't have to.
It's also what makes a scene, it's so long, it starts feeling a little bit uncomfortable, because you start feeling that you are intruding on a very private moment between these two people. This is something that's going between them, and they're trying to sort it all out, and you are there when you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be watching this struggle, because it is a private moment between these two characters. And it's just just as you're like, oh God.
A lot of this stuff, like whenever there has been these long pauses, I've kind of taken advantage of it and caught up with writing notes and stuff. But for this one, I put everything down and I just watched it, because that's how I felt like I needed to watch this pause. And as you said, it did start getting awkward. It was like, has it paused? Is it? I mean, there's music going on the whole time, but you're like, is something wrong? But it's you feel everything, and my hand started twitching. Like, because it was as if he was in my own hand. I was like twitching, like, no, don't do it.
Oh.
And then eventually we get the snap and we see a head fall into the water, and it's very, very sad. Another episode that has ended on a low. Oh, when will there be a high? Seriously. But then we cut to Ava 1 having a shower, getting off all that nasty angel blood. Oh God. Yeah. And Gendo and Rhea stood there watching it. Why not? Shinji and Misato are down at the water. I'm guessing it's the area where Shinji met Kaoru, because that would be a nice little return. Lament. Yeah. And it's nice that Misato is there, but at the same time, at this point, Shinji just probably wants to be alone. In this bit, Shinji is telling Misato how Kaoru is I'm guessing it's love in the version that you know. But yeah, in the version that I watched, he's saying that Kaoru is the first person to tell him that he liked him.
And that's not as powerful as the first person who told him he's never been told by his father and he can't remember his mother. So it was the first person that ever said, I love you.
He thinks he should have died instead of Kaoru, because Kaoru was such a good person at the end of the day. He he sacrificed himself and he was happy to do it. And Misato disagrees, saying people who have the want to live will survive. And he wanted to die. It wasn't your fault, Shinji.
No.
And then Shinji goes, "That's cold, Miss Misato." And then credits.
Yes. I mean, Misato's kind of like, it's a truth in there that Karo wanted to die because he wanted Shinji to love. And it was just like, oh, it's tragic because this is like Shinji's first real time of feeling love and possibly even returning it, because even though he's surrounded by all these female characters, he's never showed any kind of romantic feelings towards any of them. One of them is his rival, one of them is a mother figure, one of them could potentially be his mother, like, you know, but also a best friend, but like it's not been romantic. This is the first time he's maybe possibly felt a romantic bond, which is really why it annoys me when it turns to like and not love, because when you're discussing love, they're discussing love in its purest form, and it's the first time that he could have reciprocated that love and someone reciprocated love back, and it's lost it all because he had to destroy it with his own hands, which is just another just like heartbreaking moment for Shinji. But Karu wanted Shinji to survive this. He feels like he's worth it.
My only hope is that because Karu was a thing like Rei was, there's more Karu out there that they could rebuild it. I mean, it won't be exactly the same because they have to restart him and everything, but I just hope that this isn't the last that we see of him. But who knows?
Who knows?
You do, but not at this point.
Yeah. It's just so tragic. There was like so much opportunity for something beautiful and just like completely squashed and destroyed. And then also so many questions about everything. And with 2 episodes to go, what is Gendo's plan?
So let's cheer ourselves up with something upbeat. What can you suggest to us that will make us happy? Come on, Lizzie.
I finished watching the Morose Mononokean, and I know it's called the Morose Mononokean, but it's actually very sweet and very low-level threats. I think the biggest, like, scariest, like, moments were like, oh no, he fell over and cut his cheek. That was about as dramatic and, like, upsetting as it got. He got scared by a yokai, but it's just 2 boys investigating yokais, helping them get back to their world, and, you know, coming out of their shells of, like, not being able to connect and learning to be friends. And there's cute yokais everywhere, so many cute things. There's Moja, which is basically a giant ball of fluff with eyes and some tails. And it's like, oh, fudgy, 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 which is literally what they say to it. Moja means fuzzy. And yeah, it's cute yokais and nice boys learning to be friends and helping the cute yokais go home and helping them, like, not be sad.
Oh, sounds lovely.
It was lovely.
I will suggest a show that, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I really like it. It's called The Good Witch. And it's on Netflix, and it's a Hallmark thing, I think. So you know it's going to be all happy at the end. But it started off as a few films, but you can watch the series without watching the films. And it's about a woman who is in a little town, which is lovely. And I want to live there because it's just totally my aesthetic. And just how this town lives and works and these things that go on. But the thing about it is, even when bad things happen, you don't feel like it's bad because you know it's all going to work out. So if you want something happy when nothing bad will happen, watch The Good Witch. I love it. But it's not like she's a witch. She has a pointy hat and she does spells and blah. It's like, it's more coincidence things happen. So things happen and you're like, how did that happen? Oh, she did it, but we don't know how she did it. You know, it's more like a psychic thing rather than a levitating, make things go poof kind of thing. But I like it and it makes me feel happy and it's my little guilty pleasure. So The Good Witch.
Oh, very nice.
Social media.
My social media is coming in just because it's been so like beams of light. I'm coming in on beams of light going whoosh, beam. I sound beautiful.
And there's just you stood there looking heavenly.
Heavenly. Ah, Lizzie has arrived.
Just your face on a cloud.
There we go. I'm beautiful and heavenly with my heavenly and beautiful social media.
Look how beautiful you are.
It's the second coming, and it is Lizzie.
Sacrilegious.
Why not?
Let me think about what's happened in this episode. I'm going to come in. I don't want any more tears. We've both done tears.
Yeah, tears. That's why I'm the second coming. I'm a beam of light in the darkness.
Okay. If you're the beam of light, I'm going to come in as the cheeky little devil That is Gendo. Flames.
I'm a giant dick. I like how our roles are reversed, because normally I'm the evil one and you're the nice one.
I'm the nice one, you say? Oh, the facade is working.
There we go, yeah. I'm the one that watches nothing but tragic anime and horror movies and doesn't really like people.
I'm surprised that my sarcastic bitchiness hasn't come across more.
There we go.
I hide it so well. I mean, they do call me the sarcastic cow.
I'm just a weirdo.
Who isn't in this day and age?
Okay.
We are all weirdos, and it's fine. It's what makes us interesting.
Yay. Right, well, for now, this is a Weeaboo saying, Janne?
And a newbie saying, ha ha, Lizzie.
There we go, we both float off on a cloud.